crawl on, more hiss than snake, I know now.
I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities to Music. Today, guys, we're gonna review the new 2011 album from Bright Eyes. He's done a few albums. Connor Oberst? Oberst?
Mike Mogus and co.
Yes. And this album's called The People's Key, and it has a pretty interesting album cover, and it's kind of an interesting sound. From the moment that you turn the album on, you're greeted with some interesting dialogue from an interesting character that Connor is presenting, that I'll let Mr. Tito Hummer take over here in a second and talk about. But this is Bright Eyes doing what Bright Eyes does, which is making lots of really well-written songs, and being creative about it, and experimental to some extent. I mean, it's not crazy experimental music, but he's definitely experimenting with a lot of production tricks, and there's a wide variety in sound here. But Tom, go ahead. I know you're dying to talk about what we're about to talk about, so let him have it.
Okay, I got the dialogue on this album drives me loco. I just hate it. I just hate it, and it is such a turnoff for me.
That means crazy, right?
Yes.
Okay. I know that.
Okay. Anyways, I mean, it's one of those things where you need to separate two aspects of it. I mean, there's first off the obvious, point of whether you're going to agree with the musings and words of wisdom that this guy has to say throughout the album.
Who we refer to as crazy hippie.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is to me. And, you're going to agree with him or you're not. I personally think that it's a lot of garbage that I'm just not stoned enough to really appreciate. I'm not going, whoa man, that's like so deep. Like, I just don't get into that.
There's
to me,
8 other universes out there all spinning counterclockwise, right?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, yeah,
well,
whatever
it
you
has no
say.
Scientific validity, so, I mean, really, what is it adding to the music?
Exactly, and that gets to the second point that I was going to make, which, whether you agree with him or not, that's besides the point.
Right.
I mean, even pretend just for argument's sake that I think what he's saying is absolute genius on the level of like Isaac Newton or something. Just assume for a moment that I think that. It still detracts from the music.
Right.
It's still sitting in there just as big buffers between the music that when I get to, I just go, God damn it, I'm sick of hearing this.
Yes.
I just want to go on to the next song. I'd rather hear the music.
It affects the listening experience negatively.
Yes, it definitely does.
Whether
you agree with it or not.
The album.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not just like it's on the first track. It's all over the place. There's a couple different spots in the middle of the album where you hear the hippie, and then you hear him in the last track, right at the album close.
Yeah, and in a way, and even between there, I think at the end of is it Approximate Sunlight or Haile Selassie. But I mean, regardless, like I said, even if I did like it, it still has nothing to do with the music. I mean, some of the lyrical themes kind of tie into that with that kind of philosophical musings. I already used that word, but I'll use it again. But still, it's just not enough to justify it.
Right.
It doesn't enhance the music. It's fluff on the album. I'd rather be listening to the music. The music itself is okay. It's definitely more of a rock spin than we've heard a lot from Bright Eyes in the past. There's still that folk element, but there's definitely a bit more of an edge to it on some of the tracks. Not all the tracks. You have some classic Bright Eyes tracks in here. But overall, I mean, it's 10 tracks, and it's okay, but I didn't really enjoy it particularly. I thought that for 10 tracks, when you have that fluff of that guy talking about crap in between, and you have just a few tracks that are really, really good. In my opinion, I thought there were only a few that were really, really good. The other ones were just kind of eh.
Right.
It's not that strong of a statement, not that strong of a case. I still enjoyed it okay, but not much.
And to me, there's a lot of, Bright Eyes has traditionally had really good songwriting. That is the highlight of what Bright Eyes music is, and that's, the style, the genre, indie, pop and rock. That's what you're looking for. And while that's still present, there's a few issues that I have with it that really got to me on this album. Other than just the albumization of using the theme of the hippie, which maybe plays in with the lyrics and whatnot. Personally, the lyrics didn't take me over and make me think that there was something more to this. Which to me, if the lyrics aren't extremely good, then I don't care, and if they're not extremely bad, then I don't care anyways. What I'm in this for is the music and the general experience. And there's a couple things that I didn't like about this. One, I felt like Bright Eyes used a ton of, like, here's this open palette of all these production, tricks and effects that we can use on these different parts of these songs. And it's like he just used every trick he had in his bag to make these songs. And I feel like sometimes it works and sometimes it didn't, but there's a lot of inconsistencies throughout the song. There's not one consistent sound on the People's Key. Some people will like that and some people won't. Most of the criticisms I'm about to provide is just that this is what's happening, but I didn't like these things. So it's more biased than what you'll typically hear from me. The other part was the vocals. I really don't like Connor's vocals. I feel like he doesn't have a good range in his singing. I feel like a lot of times his tone is just, it's just not right. It sounds out of tune to me, and it bothers me. It distracts me from what is good that's going on in the songwriting. And on top of it, I feel like Connor's vocal parts are a little bit too loquacious. Like he's putting too many syllables in there. He's trying to pack them and make these really complicated vocal parts, and even if they're not super complicated, they're too much when the songwriting is taking a major role in the song. It's what's drawing your mind's attention. So to have that conflicting with the vocal parts makes it sound muddled and messy, and a lot of these songs is like walking into a messy living room, and personally that drives me crazy. I can't stand it. Now there's a few times on here where Connor slows things down, the production effects get turned down, and they just kind of are more focused, and when that happens, it's like magic. And specifically the last two tracks I love for that reason, because it just felt more natural, it felt more focused, and just everything was just so much more, I guess the word is natural. I like it. Where some of the other songs bothered me a little bit. Overall, I feel like this could have been a lot more and a lot better than what it was, especially from a guy as talented as Connor Oberst. But Tom, I don't know if you want to throw anything else at this point. I'm ready to score it.
No, that's all for me.
I'm feeling a 66. There's a lot of good things going on, but there's some key aspects of this album that make me go, ugh, that's taking it from that upper 70s to even low 80s down into the 60s for me.
And I'm going to go 61. Still, the actual bulk of the songs I thought was alright, but there wasn't enough to really bring me back, and to tell you the truth, I would probably not listen to this album just so I didn't have to listen to the ramblings of that hippie guy.
Right. I'd say that if you're interested in Bright Eyes music and not being exposed, there's other albums out there that you can go see, which I'm sure people will comment on and let us know their favorite albums. That's something that we always love to do here at VIMTV. But I would probably not recommend this just because there's just a lot of other music out there in the same vein that can do more than what this album accomplishes. Which there's some cool ideas here, but it's just not cohesive enough to really be a good album. I feel like it's in that 60s range where it's on the edge, there's some good things going on, but it's not quite there yet. Now, you guys go to www.velocitiesmusic.com, or you're probably watching this at YouTube, so leave us a comment at our YouTube channel, and tell us what you think. Did you love The People's Key? Was this an album that just blew your mind and you got it? Maybe we're missing something, and please let us know. Constructive criticism. Or if you didn't like it and felt the same way, and also recommend for us and everyone out there your favorite Bright Eyes albums. But I think that wraps it up for us. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV. Thanks for watching, everybody. We are moving music critique forward.